Okay, we all know that a lot of PC hardware has been pretty expensive over the last years, even though many prices are finally dropping right now. But I still want to talk about something that has been on my mind for quite a while now. Because there's one thing that we all can and kind of should do to help lower the hardware prices, like worldwide. You probably know that one major rule of the market is that the price is kind of dictated by supply and demand, which especially gamers painfully experienced when GPU prices were skyrocketing not long ago. And I'm not going to ask you not to buy Nvidia GPUs as long as they're so expensive, etc. pp. We've all heard that before. Instead, I'm suggesting selling or giving away your old hardware immediately once you replace it with newer stuff. Now, before you're about to hammer a big fat but into the comments, let me point out some facts. PS, if you're already doing that, great. I'm not really talking to you. I mean, obviously, I'm talking to you, but just keep doing whatever you're doing. But over the years, there have been more and more indications that quite a lot of people actually keep their old stuff without using it. Mostly because they don't want the hassle of selling it on eBay or some other platform, or because they think it's just not worth it. And yeah, I mean, I understand that, but if all the hardware that is rotting on shelves right now would be available in the used market, we would actually have lower prices for new hardware because less people would actually need to buy new hardware if there is a more attractive used market. Even an old $50 GPU has an effect, since this will most likely force others to sell their $70 stuff for a lower price, which in the end, if you continue that up to higher gear, it also has an effect on the price of new hardware. For example, if I can get an RTX, let's say 3080 for $300, an RTX 4070 for $600 is much less attractive for many people. That's just a fact. You get what I mean? And according to my poll, around 50% of my users are actually keeping their hardware, and some are even throwing it away. Even if half of that stuff is highly outdated, there's still a huge potential in there, in my opinion. And you won't believe how much used hardware are already sold for friends and family, sometimes for a small fee, but just because they are too lazy to do that or didn't think that it would get them any respectable amount of money. And they have been very wrong about that. Since hardware is losing value every month, it's almost never a good idea to keep it, not even as a replacement. Because if I, let's say, keep an Nvidia GTX 1080 graphics card as a replacement, and 2 years later my new GPU is actually broken, and I actually use that old GTX 1080, it will most likely have lost around $100 of value in these 2 years, just by laying around. And that means if you would have sold it immediately instead and bought someone else's used GTX 1080 in case my new GPU broke, I would have more money at the end of the day. And the chances that my new GPU will break are actually very small. So you're just wasting stuff and losing money. And if you don't want the hassle of selling your old stuff because you don't think that anybody wants it, or because you think it's not worth anything anymore, just give it away for free. There will be so many people that are thankful and grateful for that and still have use for old stuff. From my experience, in most cases, someone will immediately take it if you're placing it on some internet used selling platform like eBay or Craigslist or whatever for free. Sure, sometimes used stuff will break or not work correctly, but believe me, I bought literally hundreds of used hardware items, and the percentage of broken stuff is so small, it's still so much cheaper than buying new stuff in comparison, even if you factor in the broken items. And of course, hardware needs a lot of energy and resources to be made. It actually is highly ineffective and a waste not to use it and let it turn worthless instead. And we all know we'll have to drastically reduce emissions and save resources for a variety of reasons. I know it's just a tiny cog in the machine, but let's make the world a tiny bit better. In fact, let's make a small change right now. Just grab all the used hardware stuff that you can find and give it away or sell it. Okay, now let me know what you think about that in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye and cheers.